Alright, I think we're back. I think we're live again on everything. Alright. Great. Having internet issues. Amazing. Alright. I am back. Hello. We are back. Oh, I don't know if you guys got that dialogue. Wait, I can show it. I don't know when it stopped. I'm not particularly fond of these displays of vanity, no. That was certainly a take on things, but it didn't give me much room to react. I grew thoughtful as I considered what I would say, unsure how to communicate with someone this closed off. The idea struck me when I heard the tune of a waltz floating through the air. I immediately straightened up. You should invite me to dance. It was worth it, if only to see his stunned face. In fact, he seemed so shocked that his scowling gnome-like mask disappeared, making him look surprisingly fragile. I beg your pardon? You said it yourself. We're in the middle of a show, and appearances are everything. I can see that you're not willing to chit-chat, but people are watching us. Neither you nor I want the court to think that the crown and the faram are still at odds. So shall we dance? That is, unless you don't know how to dance, of course. He hesitated, but my last comment seemed to tick him off, and he dryly dusted off his jacket. Of course I know how to dance. Well, then prove it. Look back. He looked at my hand with suspicion, as if simply touching it was going to burn him. But finally, he took it and led me a bit further towards the center of the room, where other guests were already dancing. I was almost surprised to find his fingers pleasantly warm. His behavior was so cold that part of me expected his skin to be freezing, like that of a devilish creature. Oh wow, that's mean. Out of curiosity, as much as out of deference, we were giving much more room than necessary, and other couples stepped aside or completely left the floor to observe us. My talents as a dancer were all right, but they weren't extraordinary. I felt nervous despite myself as I tried to keep my head high and my back straight, as dignified as possible. You're suddenly very tense for someone who threw a tantrum to be invited to dance. I didn't throw a tantrum, I just outwitted you. I think we were complimenting the fabric art and bonding over our disdain for backgrounds. Of course, he had felt it, and his smile, sincere for once, showed that he had fun teasing me. That made me grumble. Just leave properly, will you? Oh, this is the art I used at the start. Right. Okay. This is from the thumbnail. I heard a hint of a laugh while he waited for the right measure and slid into the dance with surprising fluidity. He wasn't lying. He knew how to dance, very well even. Despite his badly positioned hand a bit too high, and not firmly enough to properly lead me, I could anticipate his movements with ease. He was a good guide, and his own gestures were precise and gracious. On the one hand, I was glad that everything was working out, but on the other, it bothered me a little to acknowledge his merits. Hmm. Compliment him or make him tighten his hold. Tighten his hold. Since he hadn't been shy about teasing me, he deserved to get a taste of his own medicine. Nonchalantly, I grabbed his arm to force him to correct his posture, making sure that his hand held my waist firmly instead of barely grazing it like it had been so far. My gesture seemed to throw him off, and I felt him falter for a moment, threatening to make us lose the perfect rhythm that he had imposed. It gave me the perfect opportunity to strike, and I took revenge for his petty comments. You're not a bad dancer, but your steps could be neater, my dear. Besides, your hand is still too high up. He muttered a few incomprehensible words, among which I thought I heard diabolical, but I didn't respond. I was relishing his embarrassment enough to spare him further comment. Besides, it took all my focus not to let myself savor my triumph too openly. Neither of us opened our mouths until the last measure played, and we finally separated in an elegant curtsy under a scattered applause. Diabolical. Well, I thank you for this moment, Theodore. I won't keep you busy any longer. I see you're having quite some success. Out of the corner of my eye, I glanced at the young ladies who had gotten closer and now waved their fans while ostensibly oogling the Lord of Faram. Perhaps they had more respect for etiquette than I did, since none of them dared to accost him and openly ask for a dance. Still, he sighed and glared at me, apparently holding me responsible for the sudden attention he was receiving. I ruthlessly abandoned him to his admirers and was surprised to see him play the part of the courteous gentleman after all smiles and polite comments. Clearly, I was the one for whom he refused to make such an effort. Yeah, he doesn't like you, so what? As long as it's all ogling. Oogling is funnier. Oogle, not ogle, oogle. With your oogly eyes. With the googly eyes, you oogle. Not ogle. Your Grace, as you surely know, an essential task that comes with your role as a ruler is to listen to your subjects' petitions. I've heard your petitions and I declare it is so oogle, not ogle. Didn't know you were doing a bit. Please continue. They've accumulated since your father's death, and even before, he was never very fond of that duty. Now that you've been crowned, you'll need to dedicate them a fair share of your time. Oh, great. It's especially important because the other advisors and myself had gotten used to lodging petitions on matters that require your attention but do not fit into the council's agenda. Explain it to me. Explain it to me. All of this is very new to me. I won't say no to further explanations. Petitions are matters that require informed judgment, whether they pertain to trials, grants requests, or other various issues. The other advisors and myself are usually tasked with submitting them, but we may also pass on requests coming directly from your subjects, okay? I divide them into two stacks, urgent affairs and current affairs. Of course, urgent affairs must be attended to as soon as possible. I've added an exclamation mark to the stack for more clarity. Uh, uh-huh. As long as all current affairs haven't been dealt with, I won't give you any current affair. As long as all urgent affairs haven't been dealt with, I won't give you any current affairs, so as not to distract you with futile matters. As with everything that requires your input, petitions may necessitate the mobilization of certain resources, but don't forget that they can also offer opportunities. Good decisions can turn out to be quite lucrative. Finally, you must keep in mind that improving the living conditions of your people will ensure their affection for you and, in the long run, will contribute to the realm's prosperity. Is that clear? Yeah? It all makes sense. Perfect. I suggest that you deal with one of mine first. It's an issue that has been on my mind for a while. He took a moment to rummage through the items on the table before handing me a sealed parchment roll. Here you go. Well done. I'll let you study that on your own and go about your business. Feel free to go through more of them so you can grow familiar with the process. You will be informed of their outcome in due time. Oh my lord. Even if the crown is yours, I'd be wary of your bastard brothers. For some, an illegitimate son is far better than a woman, and I wouldn't want the nobility to use this excuse so they can rid of you the first chance they get. I've tasked the Master of Murmurs with investigating them. At the moment, it seems that most of them live a modest life as craftsmen or servants, but the simplest minds can be easiest to sway, especially since you haven't established any bond with them, which means that nothing will stop them from betraying you. I suggest dealing with these issues in a permanent way. Why is he constantly asking me to kill people? Alden. Alden! You're right, it's best not to take any risks. Though I loathe these methods, I can't risk a civil war or a coup. I've given too much of myself to end up like that. Have them assassinated. No! As long as they haven't done anything to me, I refuse to let paranoia get the best of me and have them assassinated. However, I do recognize that my half-brothers are a threat, and I believe we should definitely keep an eye on them. Assign spies to each of them, and we'll decide how to react if they start plotting against me. I refuse to become a tyrant like my father, and do not let paranoia trap me in a spiral of violence. So I'll take the opposite approach. I'll make them happy, We should ensure that they don't have any desire to take my title from me or to cause me harm. Send someone to ask them what they want and do your best to satisfy their wishes. But make sure they're aware of my role as their patron. Ooh. I would do this one. Why not? I mean, they're also um crafters, and I changed our economy to prioritize crafting. So let's do this one. Your half brothers were pleasantly surprised by your offer. The twins only asked for a few more coins and they praised your name. I have half brother that are twins? The other two have more specific requests. Aaron Villas asked for your permission to marry the daughter of a lord, Lila de la Ville, whose father is opposed to the marriage. That was above my pay grade, so I submitted another petition on the topic with an in-depth explanation. Yassine Leocordier asked for permission to come to the palace without mentioning what position he wanted to occupy. He'll look over the details with you once he's here. Time will tell if your kindness is rewarded. Oh. Hmm. I don't know if I can do anything about the marriage. Your Grace, this doesn't come as a surprise, but rumors that you have had your father assassinated are starting to spread. Yeah. Apparently, some letter you sent a few years ago to one of your tutors, in which you poured out your hatred for your father, is being circulated along with these accusations as proof of your evil doing. At the moment, we still do not know who is behind these rumors, especially since bards are spreading the information all across the realm. What shall we do? Master of Murmurs. Hmm. Round up and look up all the bards who know. If the rumor is already making the rounds, we might as well use it to our advantage. I'll announce that I haven't murdered my father, but that I despised him, and that this hatred means I wish to be a very different ruler from what he was. His death is a gift that has been presented to us by the Four. Everyone feared him, if they didn't hate him. In this way, we should find support among those who criticized him. I wonder who could have started the rumor and obtained the letter. Send our agents to investigate my former tutor's old residence. Once we know who stole the letter, we can use the situation to our advantage and accuse the thief of having assassinated my father. As if we need further proof, we can always fabricate something. Ooh, okay. This one. Your straightforwardness and your very aggressive approach to these rumors have taken your enemies by surprise. It does not matter who spread these rumors, they have lost a lot of their influence. Even if a few obstinate fools still believe them, the nobility, however, did not appreciate the brutality you displayed. They accused you of harming etiquette by admitting such hatred towards your predecessor and father. Too bad. Nevertheless, if the people are still doubtful, your words seem to have touched their hearts, and it seems that they like you more now. Oh well. Petitions? What can I do here? Oh, cancel. This is okay for now. Petitions. Your Grace, forgive me for bothering you with such trivial matters, but I am in need of your impartial wisdom. Two farmers from my village, Gittinok and Roparts, who own adjoining land, have been harboring a burning hate for each other for years, but as of late, their scuffles have escalated to a troubling extent. Why? Rothras has just poisoned all of. What? He claims that he did so in retaliation of his neighbor's actions. The latter appears to be deliberately let his goats to his neighbor's field so they could graze on it and destroy part of the harvest. During his interrogation, Gitana claimed in turn that he was taking revenge for the destruction of a fence and so on and so forth. It never ends. It's impossible for us to determine who started the fight, and the tension shows no sign of subsiding. Padilla, our priest, has tried many times to act as a mediator, but to no avail. My sermons are just as useless. We've tried appealing to our Lord Justice, and he's been away from his lands for a few months now. It is out of desperation that I bother you, your majesty. I'm convinced that you alone have authority required to instill some common sense into these two idiots. May the Four protect you. Farzak, Mayor of Oz. I wonder how he can talk with. Oh, you're not forgiven, says his throat. No. I don't have time to solve, but no, since it's important to know who truly started the fight, we'll have to turn to the gods. Tell Priest Fedea to flip a coin in order to determine which of the two farmers should be punished. No! It doesn't matter who started these childish squabbles. We're both at fault for escalating them. Tell the mayor to punish them both. Perhaps spending some time in prison together will help them see eye to eye. Oh! But yeah, no, both are gonna get punished. Minus 500 people plus 5 goods. I'm sorry. This is literally their own fault. Your Grace, I have done as you asked. Indeed, it seems that during the time in jail, Roparts and Gittinok have found common ground. Their resentment towards you. I started fearing that their grudge might lead them to try and cause you harm, and I have kept a close eye on them. However, I can assure you that their litigious plots are nothing for you to worry about. At least they have made up, and their farms have never been more flourishing. 1,000 thanks, Your Grace, for taking the time to shed your wisdom on this affair. May the fort protect you. Well, I've got two very angry farmers, but at least they're keeping the peace in their fucking living situation. I was truly glad to be Empress now, but as I had expected, I hadn't had a single moment to myself since my coronation. There was an endless and continuous stream of people paying their respects to me and of more or less futile issues to solve. Even I was happy to finally be able to exercise my power legitimately, I also felt that I needed a break. Thus, after taking care of the most urgent matters, I had decided to take a moment to relax in my bedroom, the gardens, the library. Hmm. Gardens? Oh! You'll talk with Asha. You'll talk with Theodore. You'll talk with Alexander. Alexander's in my bedroom. I I want to go to the gardens, so we'll go talk to Asha. Taking a breath of fresh air seems like the best way to replenish my reserves of energy, especially since the weather was lovely. Thicken the plot. Bedroom, thicken the plot. No, I want to go outside. I've been inside all day. I aimlessly walked along the garden trails, filling my lungs with clean air, when I saw Asha sitting on a bench, her eyes closed, her head thrown back. She looked so peaceful that I wondered if she was sleeping, and I approached her as stealthily as I could, trying not to wake her up. My spying talent must have been rather unimpressive, since she heard me and opened her eyes to look at me. With a smile, she politely bowed her head. I was wrong, Asha, my love. Good day, Your Majesty. Are you here to take a sunbath as well? She unceremoniously motioned to the bench, inviting me to join her. Although I was surprised by such familiarity, I was still tempted, and I sat down on the smooth wood, comfortably warmed up by the sun. It could be a crime to have such a beautiful garden and not want to take advantage of it. I can only approve. This is my favorite spot in the place alongside the library. I saw I softly smiled at her, letting a lazy silence settle between us until I felt the need to start a conversation. So tell me, do you enjoy Kalidia? It's a beautiful place, but as beautiful as it may be, it only reminds me how much more beautiful my island is. Your island? I've never been to Assyria. Oh, is it an island nation? I had heard the most wondrous descriptions of it. I could understand her homesickness, but at the same time, I felt a touch of chauvinism stir within me. This isn't a contest, Asha. I had said that in a joking manner to hide my scowl, but she didn't budge, showcasing once more her talent for subtle backtalk. That's good, because she would lose. This would have annoyed annoyed me from most people, but all her pert little expressions simply made me want to play along, and I replied just as mischievously. If you're feeling so homesick, I can always send you back. And deprive you of the only person with a sense of humor in your court. I highly doubt that, Your Grace. Especially since this place is in dire need of a feminine presence. The ratio would crash, were you to send me away, this is true. Her remark made me laugh briefly, but openly. If what they say about Isira is true, I suppose it must be strange for you to see so many men holding power. Oh yes, and it just comforts me in the certainty that we've done the right call letting women rule. If only the rest of my people could hear what you're saying. You think your gender stands in the way of your rule? Obviously. Don't forget, I'm only here because my brother is dead and my father never remarried. I've been crowned, but I know many people still doubt my abilities and my legitimacy. And yet, do you feel up to the task? I'm I definitely am up to it. There wasn't a hint of doubt in my voice. My entire life had been built around the rule that was now mine. Asha seems deep in thought. Have you been preparing yourself? To the best of my abilities, yes. I've read books, many books, on many different subjects. I've listened to my elders' advice too. But well, there isn't exactly a course organized by the scholars for all of this. There isn't one? Really? Where I'm from, potential future queens receive a very strict education from an early age, which is destined to make them the best possible rulers. Everything is planned for. And even if you follow that curriculum, in order to be crowned, you'd still need to undergo a whole battery of tests supervised by the matriarchs. Really? A queen can only be appointed once she's proved her discernment and her value. Wow. May I, oh my lord. Impressed with a system that was completely strange to me, I took in the information with curiosity. And do you think that's effective? Nothing's ever perfect, but we haven't had a single tyrant since the system has been set up. I'd only say it fosters a certain inertia. Our queens are the protectors of our people. To fulfill that duty, they abandon their names, dedicate themselves to their task, and follow that long training which shapes them. That preserves us from the ambition of a single person who could decide to satisfy their thirst for power at the expense of others. But when you look closely, none of the 12 queens of the kingdom particularly stand out. Her analysis seems thorough and far from the simple chauvinistic admiration that I had initially suspected of animating her. That prompted me to take some time as well and ponder before answering. I see. It's true that reigns on a continent are often eventful, but I do think that sometimes a strong headed leader with a distinct personality is what's best to guide a nation in time of crisis. As I've told you, Your Grace, nothing is ever perfect. And I wasn't trying in the slightest to cast doubt on your reign to come, if that's what you were thinking. If I was wary of you, I wouldn't have told you all those things. Thank you for your trust. And since my coronation's taking place, I haven't had a minute to step back and take everything in. Perhaps I'm too defensive. The weight of responsibility that comes with your title would break any people's backs, believe me. But you can't neglect yourself either, Your Grace. So if potential queens go through a whole education system and then they have to pass the test and stuff like that, what happens to the ones that also tried to study for it but didn't pass? Is she one of them? I'm wrapping up to go home. Safe travels. A tree worn down by the tantrum of nature isn't robust enough to bear its fruits. And even on that count, I think Assyria is ahead of you. If you want to wind down one day, I'll show you one of those massages we're famed for. A malicious spark flickered in her eyes, and coupled with the slightly husky tone of her voice, it made me blush. Eager to hide my embarrassment, I took refuge in humor. If you weren't a woman, I'd have sworn that you're prepositioning me. Well, I was definitely flirting with you, Your Grace. Oh! Her frankness took me aback, and I found myself stunned silent. Nobles were fond of these kinds of false seduction games, but I had never seen it take place between two women. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be in your dark presence once more. Asha, flips cape. Oh my god. I'll play along. Asha will continue to flirt with you even if you don't romance her. Okay. You would dare to try and corrupt my pure and innocent soul. My voice was clearly exaggerated and provocative, which seems to amuse her. Your soul may well be pure, but innocent, I doubt it. You're far too cunning for that. Okay, that's true. Flips fedora. Oh my god. Eddie? She winked at me. In any case, you know where to find me if you decide to take me up on my massage offer. Believe me, once you try it, you won't be able to live without it. Oh my god. The church is going to hate me. It might be best if I never try it out then. It would be most unfortunate if it fell into the hands of foreign power. She burst into laughter when she saw the falsely worried face I had put on, and I joined her, alternating between open fits and small giggles until my stomach hurt. She was the first to calm down. Her face turned serious and she cleared her throat. I shouldn't bother you any longer. I'm afraid my little nap has dragged on rather longer than I'd planned. But it was a pleasure talking to you, Your Grace. All the pleasure's mine, Asha. She's so cute. Okay, this is to change stuff around, right? I think this is okay. I'm still fine with this. Cancel. Let me go here. Petitions. Your Grace, I have discovered that someone has placed pagan talismans in the palace. One was even found in your living quarters. I do not think that these amulets hold any sort of power, but the intentions are quite real. I cannot bear the thought that someone wishes to curse you. With the Master of Murmur's help, we have identified the servant behind these talismans. We have, however, stayed discreet. We will await your orders before we take action. This could give us an opportunity to learn more about the situation. General Alexander, are we sure that it's a curse and not just like a protection thing? I don't want unnecessary bloodshed. Find an excuse to fire her and tell her that she shouldn't come near me in the future if she doesn't want the order to find out about her little secret. You're right. We can't let an opportunity to gather information pass us by. Keep a discreet eye on her. She might lead us to other pagans, and we might learn more about their intention towards me. I want to see what their intentions are. It could be like a harmless thing. We're actively keeping an eye on Miranda, but for the time being, we have not learned anything apart from a few ridiculous and harmless rituals. Her life is just as mundane as it is boring, and she does not seem to be meeting with our other pagans or actively working to bring about your downfall. Master of Murmurs. So maybe it's like a I don't know, maybe she's just trying to protect us in her own way? Good morning, Your Grace. In need of support, I take the liberty of writing to you despite the borders that separate us, hoping that you will not take offense. Following a painful illness, my father, the Grand Duke Edgar the Belarius, recently died. May his soul rest in peace. As his only direct heir, I would normally receive his titles and lands, but some cousins of the family have decided otherwise. Since I'm not married, these dear cousins argue that there must be a patriarch for the family to run smoothly. Of course, my father's title and possessions are all they care about, and they have no use for me. I fear I can't protect what's mine from these shenanigans. Your ascension to the throne, despite criticism, is an inspiration to me, and that's why I took the liberty of asking for your help today. I know that the Calidia's influence in my country is limited due to the animosity between our two nations, but I have no doubt that you are a resourceful woman who will be able to offer me valuable advice if not involved yourself on my behalf. Very respectfully and with my sincere friendship, Lady Alma de Belarius. Hmm. I understand your position too well. It's true that my opinion carries little weight with the administration of Vargas, but everyone knows how slow your country is administratively. If your cousin's request were to disappear, it would give you much more time to firm up your position. A piece of paper is easily lost, so have faith in your lucky stars. Beyond the complex law of inheritance is often those who have the means to assert their rights who get what they want. A show of strength will convince the Emperor that you are the most suitable person to take over the estate. I'll send you some resources that will help you in the process. I trust you will return the favor when you've obtained that what is rightfully yours. Mm. This could be a terrible move because this is in a foreign country. And I'm sending her military power? I do want her to get what she wants, other than having to wait. Because in the meantime, even if the process is not going, they can still like wreck her shit. Anyway, the second one. Dear Grace. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay, here we go. Dear Grace, I don't know how to express my gratitude. I cannot describe the look on my cousins' faces when I arrived flanked by my guards and the magistrate good graces thanks to few well placed gifts and with some compromising information to soften them up. I've been able to recover the title and lands that were rightfully mine, and my cousins have now become very kind in hope of scrounging up a few favors, so I'll be able to protect my inheritance as my late father wished. As a token of my gratitude, I'm sending you a shipment of marble from the Belarus quarries. And I've also added some of my favorite jewelry, which I'm sure will look beautiful on you. Even if our respective countries haven't always been on good terms, please know that I consider you a friend and that you can count on me in the future. I wish you a prosperous rule, and I hope to be able to meet you someday. Respectfully, Lady Alma, Valerius, Duchess of Belarus. Oh, that's nice. Tradition. Your Grace, as you know, tradition requires that every emperor have an immense mausoleum built in their memory, with a gigantic statue in their likeness adorning their tomb. Your father's body is currently in a coffin with an Astrakarok's great temple, so that pilgrims may come to pray over him, but it is high time to build him a tomb befitting of his glory. High Priest Robert. I mean, okay. Even if I didn't hold my father close to my heart, I wouldn't want to post tradition or the construction of a magnificent mausoleum in his honor, although I won't be overseeing it. Like every emperor will have his mausoleum, but I'd rather spend our resources on the living than the dead. Make sure that his tomb is decent, but without any unnecessary embellishment. Ooh. No, let's do the same. Your Grace, the mausoleum is still under construction, but the results look promising. There's no doubt that when it will be done, religious fervor will be at its peak. Mausoleums are a privilege preserved for the imperial family, and this building will remind everyone that you are sitting on the throne because your lineage has been blessed by the four themselves. I do insist on warning you that the emperor was not very much liked by the people. Consequently, a few bitter remarks have been made about the outlandish cost of construction. Yeah, I figured. It's okay. Day 52, afternoon. The days pass by in a blur, all similar to each other. New petitions to manage, new events to participate in, influential people to flatter. I had never had any illusions. I had always known that my life as an empress would be mainly paced by paperwork and diplomatic discussions. But sometimes it got a bit much. I knew the decisions I was making could change lives and minds, and I hoped that under my rule, my kingdom would prosper. But I couldn't see the results of my hard work after a mere few weeks. I had to settle for little victories, and sometimes I caught myself hoping for something, anything, to disrupt my day. Unfortunately, nothing seems to be on the cards. Your Grace, would you have a few moments to spare me? Startled out of my daydreaming, I looked at the unfinished letter in front of me and pushed it aside to give my full attention to the Master of Murmurs, who removed his hood after closing the door. Of course, I'm all ears. Today, a wandering caravan coming from Vargas was attacked by bandits while they were crossing the Elm Bridge. The merchandise was stolen, the guards were killed, and the people in the caravan are now being held hostage to be ransomed. By the four, that's awful. I was now used to be the one who must find solutions, and I immediately started going through them in my mind. That bridge is a strategic location. It should have been better protected. We'll send men over there, and I'll ask Marjorie to send hers as well. Her men are closer by. They should be able to secure the area and limit the disruptions to that heavily trafficked commercial road. I put a bounty on these bandits. We had to find the hostages and deal with their captors as decisively as possible. Patiently, he let me finish, but as I saw his expression, I realized there wasn't more to it, and I frowned. Is there something in particularly that I should know about this caravan, Master of Murmurs? Softly, he nodded. Amongst the captured people is one of my agents, a master of spying and infiltration. He had been in Vargas for a few months to keep an eye on a family of nobles, and he was urgently coming back with some vital information. Does it have to do with my father's assassination? Do you think Vargas is guilty of it? No, at first glance, there's no connection. Your father's assassination is still under investigation, even if I have to admit that at the moment we're somewhat stalled. Then what's this about? That's precisely the issue. I don't know. Apparently, it was crucial information. My agent has always been excessively prudent. He fears that his mail might be intercepted, and therefore, He was reluctant to send me written information even if our messages are always coded. Oh, fuck. So you're telling me that one of our spies who infiltrated Vargas has been captured not far from the border while he was coming back with information of the utmost importance, and that you have no clue what it is. Finally, now that the four had decided to grant my wish of a little more excitement, I started regretting wishing for it in the first place. The situation didn't bode well. That's correct. Like you, I did find this coincidence suspicious, but we can't be sure of anything. If they just wanted to cover their tracks, they could have simply killed him right there and then, as well as the guards. Maybe they just got rid of the body? We can't exclude that possibility, but we've received a demand of ransom addressed to his family, like the other four hostages. I don't know. So those guys don't know what they have. Well, in any case, we have to clear up the situation quickly. Do we have other agent stations in Vargas who could try to learn what our spy knows? A few, yes, but I'm afraid that they won't be discreet enough if they were to approach the same people. The decision is yours to make. I know it's dangerous, but we still have to try. Very well, Your Majesty. I'll order them to follow the same tracks as the agent, but we have been there for months. I doubt they can obtain quick results. I know, but if this information was crucial, we don't have a choice. We have to try. I understand. And for the bandits, what shall we do? I took the time to think and weigh my options before making a decision. Do we have any information whatsoever on these bandits? If they are who they pretend to be, they've been active all over the territory and always follow this pattern, but we know little about them. For the time being, we have no idea of their whereabouts or who their leader is. Are they trustworthy? I mean, once the ransoms have been paid, will they truly release the hostages? So far, yes, they've kept their word. Hmm. For the time being, we have no proof that this was a setup. We have to believe that at the very least that our agent is alive, and if they've known for keeping their promises, the best course of action will be to pay the ransom without further discussion. We can't continue letting these bandits live on our lands, even if they're known for being trustworthy. I absolutely do not trust them, and I don't want to pay ransom all over the place. Pretend to pay the ransom, but trap them. At least we'll have fewer bandits on our hands if our agent is already dead. I believe that situation is far too uncertain to engage resources. If it's a trap, we'll lose more lives, and if I refuse to finance these bandits any further. Even though it'll cost me, the only thing that we can do is have faith in this agent and his abilities. If he's as talented as you claim, he should be able to give the slip to a handful of bandits. Mm, if this is something that happens constantly, let's do this. Very well, Majesty. I'll go talk to Alexander and prepare an ambush. We'll keep you appraised of the situation's evolution. Your Grace, even though it has been carefully planned, I regret to inform you that our ambush was a failure. Aw, shit. The bandits were well prepared, and when they spotted us, they started killing the hostages and running away. Ooh. Fortunately, your agent is very resourceful, and he managed to escape. I'm bringing him back to the castle right as I'm writing this report. One of the bandits is dead, but the rest of the group managed to flee. I desperately want to make them pay for their actions and pursue them, but the agent claims that his information is urgent and vital. You must absolutely meet him as soon as possible, Your Grace. I guess I should have just paid it then. Unable to sleep, I got up to take in a bit of fresh air at the window. As much as I told myself there was no point in speculating before I got the spy's report, I couldn't stop the foreboding I felt. And I was about to be proved right. Everything's going to be fine. Finish the demo of Imperial Grace. Ah! Thank you for playing Imperial Grace demo. We hope you had a good time. If you haven't already joined, you can join our Discord to follow the creation of game in real time and talk with the team and the community. Here we are! The end of the demo. Man! I should have maybe just paid it. But I don't have to deal with the consequences of that yet. But in the main game, I might just pay it. I don't want to pay it and then So can we pay it and then like put cards on the bridge? That might be the move to do. That might be the move that we will have to do. What are the other achievements? Murder solves everything. Too bad. Huh? I can die in the demo? Spend all your monetary resources. Ah, I did not do any of that. I took a very safe route, I guess. But that was the demo for Imperial Grace. Very interesting. I very much like this. And yeah, the game is being developed. It is available on Steam. The demo is. So you can go play your own routes, see what choices you make. Maybe you're more murderous than I am. I did not do the murder yet, but we will see. All right, let me see what we got. Um, it's two. I can go eat. Mm, I don't know that my Marvel rival buddies are around, so I might just go eat and take a sleep because I am so tired. Give me a second. All right. So let us see. I think as far as game demos go for the Choose Wisely Festival, this is it. This is what we will do. I don't. Mm, no, I don't think we're doing extras today. I streamed 9.5, 9 hours like the last 2 days. So, so with this, we say bye bye, YouTube.